Did you know that studies show when you're under pressure, your brain actually works against you? What do I mean? When the pressure's up and you're under pressure and that choking moment's there, your brain goes into hyperdrive. The emotional center goes into hyperdrive and cuts off your cognitive thinking, actually working against you. You don't want to be there. You don't want to be nervous. You don't want to have your hands shaking. You don't want to be mumbling and babbling. You know you want to be your best in that moment, but your brain says, heck, we're out of here. And it's trying to run or fight. So in that moment when your own system is fighting against you, oh my gosh, how do you get control? That's the purpose of this. That's the whole reason why I do what I do, is to help you figure out how do I get back online and be my best the quickest. Because what we're seeing in the research for decades and decades upon decades is that when that pressure comes on, control's gone. So our goal here is, how do we end that moment right away? Well, there's an interesting study at the University of California called the Lieberman study. And what it showed was patients would actually come in and have an emotional experience. And they'd see that emotional center just fire off, and they've lost control. So how do they get control again? They would have them label the emotion, apply a rational description to the emotion. And that irrational description brought down the emotional intensity. Understand? So by putting that rational description up against that emotion, it brought that intensity back down. How does that help you? All of a sudden now, you can think clearer again. Your hands aren't shaking. You're not talking too fast. You're not disoriented as much, right? By putting that rational response against it. We've seen the same thing in cognitive behavioral therapy, thinking therapy. Well, the patients come in who've got incredible depression or anxiety or test anxiety or performance anxiety, and the idea of going to speak in front of the board or pitch in front of the investors or talk to the media has got them totally choked up where they can't think and they can't perform. What they have them do is say, okay, great, we see the emotion, we see you're losing control, but what do? We have you place a rational thought against that emotion, disprove that emotion, find the pessimism in that emotion. As you put that thought behind it, down comes the intensity and you're back online in an instant. True story, you can find it yourself. With CBT, they've seen patients who've had depression, anxiety, and stress for years come in, and in one session, it's gone. Simply by proving it to themselves with a rational thought. Right? You've heard the saying in law. Right? What do they say in the law? The evidence does not lie. As soon as you feel that evidence, whoosh, down comes the intensity. So my own past life, I used to work in the operating room, as you know. Right? I used to work in a medical device sales guy. So I'd go into the operating room, and you're there to help sort of facilitate the surgery. Give suggestions to the surgeon potentially, help the nurses make the right choices with instruments, those kind of things. But there's times in that environment where it's incredibly pressured. You're in there, the patient has been cut, they're dealing with the replacement of the knee or the hip or the shoulder, and all of a sudden something goes wrong. Maybe they didn't bring the right instruments. Maybe they didn't bring the right implant. Maybe the implant fell on the floor. And this is a crucial time, like we need to get this fixed right now. And everything in you is just lit up on fire. You can't breathe, you can't think. You are the one they're counting on for the answer, and your whole body is shutting down. Your hands are shaking, your mind is racing, there's no one to call, there's no one to turn to. Like, you are the one who has to get this done. And so what do? So from my past life, in those moments, sometimes, I'll admit it, I crashed and burned, just like you must have. And it's a gut-wrenching, paralyzing feeling. And having gone through having crashed and burned, I sought out this answer for you. How do you get through it? Well, you apply rational thought to the emotion. So years would go into that job, and what happened is over time I learned that when those pressure moments were on, stop for a second, apply a rational thought to this, prove it to yourself, you've already beaten this, right? So you'd say to yourself something like, you know what? I've done this before, I can do it again. If they can figure it out, I can figure it out, right? If I take my time, I will find the answer. But if you get caught up in the story of the emotion, oh my gosh, we can't do it, what are we gonna do? I can't, you're dead. You gotta get that intensity down. And how you get the intensity down is to prove it to yourself. The evidence will not lie. If you apply a rational thought to an emotional place, you'll bring the intensity down and you will find a way to win. I'll see you on the next one. Hey there, thanks for stopping by and thanks for watching. Listen, if this video really resonated with you, make sure you subscribe to my channel to get the latest updates on how to find a way to win and really perform well under pressure. And for an even deeper dive on the training, go by my website, calvinstrong.com. I promise your time will not be wasted. All the best, until next time.